Good afternoon. My name is Ehinome Ikhalia, and I'm looking at the effectiveness of security awareness system to avoid malware attacks. So the research problem is simple, but it's not very straightforward. It's looking at how social engineering is being used to distribute malware on social networks. Research has shown that social networks, online social networks, is the biggest malware distribution platforms. And very, very little effort has been made towards creating awareness and automating these awareness systems in order to change behaviors. Practitioners are very good at developing antivirus softwares, firewalls, and many kind of softwares in that kind of field. But they've not been able to look at how they can change behavior. How can we create a proactive system to prevent people from bringing malware into their computer devices? And the first step we looked at is the existing awareness systems for cybersecurity. We noticed that many of these systems have been implemented in a generic way, somewhat generic way. They do not address all the issues. And we agree also that there is no one solution that fits all the problem. Security awareness systems need to be contextual, needs to address the unique threats faced by users of a particular technological platform. And our domain for this research is online social networks. So the implication of the problem of malware is that when a malware is installed into a victim's computer, especially from social networks, there is what we call damage to reputation. When a reputation is damaged, it can bring a lot of problems. And malware can also lead to financial loss. It can lead to brand reputation. So if your business is on social networks and you were hacked with malware, your brand can be damaged. It can lead to loss of time, organizational loss of time, downtimes, and eventual loss of business if not properly handled. What is our proposed solution? Our proposed solution, like I said, is to create a proactive mechanism to prevent people from downloading malware onto their system. And the methodology we use is design science. Design science and information systems research methodology that involves about 5 stages. First of all, the problem awareness, the suggestion, the development, testing, evaluation, and then conclusion. So to become more aware about the problem, we did a semi-systematic review of existing security awareness systems. So we identified the elements that have been included in existing systems. We also compared what practitioners are saying, papers concerning recommendations on how to design security awareness. And then we came up with a framework, a design framework for online social networks. In addition, we took into consideration the nature and dynamics of social networking, including user behavior, to develop a user awareness framework. But also, this is not enough for information systems research, because in a paper published by Henva in 2004, Henva et al. In MISQ, talking about design science research and the challenges, they said that most of the problems faced by design science research is too much focus on artifacts. A lot of us are focusing on artifacts that may not have any theoretical relevance, that does not have any serious adequate theoretical backing. So we looked for a model, a theoretical model or a theory that best explains our framework, that can explain the way the framework is going to function. One of those models we discovered was the threat avoidance model developed by Lang and Su in 2009. The model simply says that there are factors that need to be considered for computer users to avoid IT-related threats. One of those factors are perceived severity, perceived susceptibility, and when users perceive the severity and susceptibility of a threat, they are motivated to take a safeguarding measure. And some of the factors they proposed was safeguard cost, the cost of using the safeguard, the self-efficacy of using the safeguard, and the safeguard effectiveness. But that solution is good for understanding behaviors of general computer users. What about social networking? What about the behavior of the community of users? So looking at social networks with an eagle eye, we discovered that there is one factor that we need to include in this model, which is mass interpersonal persuasion. It's unique to online social networking. This explains the reason why a lot of people are motivated to take certain behaviors on social networks. Mass interpersonal persuasion is the greatest factor that makes a user behave like other users. It's been used to develop games. That component has been very successful. I even found out in the literature that it took Candy Crush game just 1 year to get to 100 million users just because of that single social networking factor, whereas it took the telephone 75 years to get to 100 million users. Okay, so we developed the model. We included our construct MIP, mass interpersonal persuasion, and we sent it to a journal, the Journal of Association of Information Systems, and we've also published the framework. So right now, to test the model, we conducted a survey of 200 students in Brunel University because the research took a positivist stance. We developed the hypothesis and the questions, and we're still doing the analysis. We're using structural equation modeling. And in the process, we're doing mock-ups of the design of our system. The proposed safeguarding measure we are using is a video animated system. And the system will include the recommendations in our framework. The first recommendation is that the system has to be time-boxed. Security awareness system does not have to be a 1-hour training program. That cannot change behavior. It has to be repetitive, so we need to make it time-boxed. It has to be engaging, engage emotions of users. It has to be integrated in the platform through which the attacks occur. It has to be activity-specific, that is, looking at the specific activities that are risk-related, that are vulnerable. Then there needs to be some elements of knowledge testing. So we've designed a game based on all this, a video animated system, but it also works like a game. So this is our theoretical model based on Lang and Su, and the introduction to the model, the new addition is the mass interpersonal persuasion. So the argument is that for social network users to avoid malware threats, they perceive the severity, they perceive they are susceptible, but to take a safeguarding measure, they look at the effectiveness of the safeguard, the cost of the safeguard, the ability to use the safeguard, and then the persuasion ability of the safeguard from their friends. So the relationship between our model and framework and then the system design has been shown here. The perceived susceptibility will demonstrate perceived susceptibility in our system by looking at the activity-specific behaviors that brings all these threats into question. Perceived severity will look at the emotional engagement side of it. So the framework will bring out the perceived severity by making sure that the content of the system is engaging the user emotionally. And safeguard effectiveness has to do, we use our integration, the integration specification of the framework to draw out the safeguard effectiveness. What this means is that the system we are building is integrated on Facebook. And for users to perceive the effectiveness of this system, they must have their friends using the system as well. So that ability to make judgments based on the behavior of other users, that interactivity is there. And then we have knowledge testing to increase the self-efficacy of the user. So we have, the system is designed to make sure that each user have a security awareness rank. So when they use the system, they get a pop-up question on the video they watched. They get points, and these points are geared towards improving their rank. So we have about 5 levels in the system. And these things are shown back to their friends and say, hey, come and check out so and so rank in the system. So the 2 key works that are underway that we're expecting results is the testing of the system and the final result from the structural equation modeling of our survey. Thank you very much.